Welcome to the thinkcell tutorials. In this video, we'll show you the basics of creating a slide with thinkcell elements. thinkcell elements are feature-rich slide objects that you can use alongside PowerPoint shapes to build impactful presentations. This tutorial shows you how to use elements such as text boxes, tables, and icons. If you have thinkcell Suite, you can also access thinkcell's chart elements to create powerful data visualizations. To learn more about charts, see our user manual. You can find thinkcell elements on the Insert tab in the thinkcell group or on the thinkcell tab in the Structure and Elements groups. thinkcell elements include agendas, images and icons, text boxes, pentagons and chevrons, rounded rectangles, Harvey balls, and checkboxes. Let's start by inserting a text box. On the thinkcell tab, in the Elements group, select Text Box. To insert the text box with the default size, just click. To create a custom size, click and drag. When you add an element, red lines appear to help you align the element to other objects. There are a few ways to duplicate an element. For example, you can use Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-V to paste an element. With the alignment guides, you can make sure that the text boxes are aligned. You can also duplicate an element by holding Ctrl and dragging the element. To duplicate one or more selected elements immediately above, below, or to the left or right, for example, if you want to build a table, click one of the blue arrows along the edges of your selection. You can click the arrow multiple times without moving your mouse. To access an element's format and style options, click the element to open its mini toolbar. Here, we want to center the text in the table headers. To select this range of elements, select the first cell in the range, hold Shift, and select the last cell in the range. For more thinkcell keyboard and mouse shortcuts, see our user manual. Let's open the horizontal alignment menu and select Center. Next, let's align this text to the middle of the text boxes. Select the text boxes, then open the vertical alignment menu and select Middle. On the mini toolbar, you can also select the text direction. You can also use PowerPoint's built-in text formatting options such as superscript, indents, and bold. To change the fill of an element, on the Fill menu, you can select one of the preset fills. To select a custom color fill, on the Fill menu, select Custom. In the top panel, you can select the hue and saturation, and in the bottom panel, you can select the hue and brightness. To match a color on the slide, select Eyedropper. When you apply a fill to an element that contains text, thinkcell automatically adjusts the font color to ensure the highest possible contrast. You can always manually choose another font color. Choosing a color manually will override thinkcell's automatic color adjustment. To resize an element, drag one of its resize handles. When you resize an element, you can use objects on another slide as a reference. Select and hold a resize handle, then select Page Up, Page Down, Home, or End to go to the slide that you want. Then, Use the alignment guides to align your element to an object on the slide. Once you've found the size that you want, release the Resize handle. With the Scale button, you can resize PowerPoint shapes proportionally. First, select the shapes that you want to scale. Then, on the thinkcell tab, in the Layout group, select Scale. Drag the blue arrow to resize the shapes proportionally. The shape's relative size and the relative space between them remain the same. Text size, text margins, and line weight all resize proportionally with the selection. Among PowerPoint's many resizing tools, there's no tool for size matching. Luckily, thinkcell adds buttons for matching object sizes. The size matching tools are on the Home tab in the thinkcell group and on the thinkcell tab in the Layout group. You can choose same width, same height, and same size. Same size matches the widths and heights of objects at the same time. If you select only PowerPoint shapes and then a size matching button, the shapes will match the first shape that you selected. With thinkcell, you can match object sizes to whichever object you select as the reference object. The reference object has a red and white marker at its center. To select the reference object, select the objects that you want to match, including at least one thinkcell element. Here, we want all the text boxes to be the same height as the first text box. Hover over your reference object so that you see the marker, then click. Then, in the Layout group, select Same Height. When you drag a thinkcell element or a resize handle, red lines appear so that you can align the element vertically, horizontally, or both. Objects that you're aligning to have an orange highlight. Thinkcell elements can also align to PowerPoint guides. To prevent snapping to any alignment, press and hold Alt. You can also align elements and shapes using PowerPoint's built-in Align tools. Let's adjust the spacing of the text boxes and the blue lines. First, select the text boxes and the lines. The alignment tools are on the Home tab in the Drawing group, the Shape Format tab in the Arrange group, and the thinkcell tab in the Layout group. Select Distribute Vertically. Next, we want to align this thinkcell text box to the middle of the numbered PowerPoint circle. Select both objects, then select the numbered circle as the reference object. On the Align menu, make sure that Align Selected Objects is selected. Then, select Align Middle. To learn more about aligning and resizing objects with thinkcell, see our Align and Resize video tutorial. To group objects, select two or more objects. Your selection can include thinkcell elements, PowerPoint shapes, or both. Then, right-click one of the objects to open the context menu and select Group. You can resize and reposition grouped objects. To ungroup the objects, right-click one of the objects to open the context menu and select Ungroup. To group elements and shapes, you can also use PowerPoint's built-in grouping tools, which you can find on the thinkcell and Shape Format tabs. Let's say that, after carefully arranging this list, you decide that you want to swap the first and last points. Instead of adjusting and readjusting the text boxes, you can swap their positions with just 3 clicks. Select both text boxes, then on the thinkcell tab, go to the Layout group and select Swap Objects. You can also swap grouped objects. For example, we can group the list of boroughs, group the map objects and swap them. To rotate an element, drag its rotation handle to one of the red targets. Some elements, like images and icons, have more than one target on each side. This means that you can also flip the element. In contrast to PowerPoint's rotate and flip tools, when you rotate and flip thinkcell elements, the text direction and orientation doesn't change. That's it for this tutorial on shapes and elements. To learn more about using thinkcell, see our user manual page on shapes and elements or other thinkcell tutorials.